All right, let's talk about PulseX. The most popular applications on the Ethereum network are NFTs, which I don't like, but I wish I did like, because everyone gets a copy of their NFTs over on Pulsechain, right? So you overpaid for a serial number loosely related to a JPEG that may or may not still be hosted on the internet. Congrats. You now have that same serial number on a new chain with the same keys that access it and mostly the same code. Good for you. Congratulations. Now, what's the second most popular thing? Well, the second most popular, and by the way, these measurements aren't totally accurate. So when I say NFTs are the most popular, it just means they consume the most gas. I don't think they actually have the most users. I think a lot more people trade on decentralized exchanges than use NFTs. I just think the NFTs suck up a lot of gas. So Uniswap has the majority of on-chain exchange liquidity in the Ethereum ecosystem. So they've got 8.2 billion locked up. And then SushiSwap is number 2. And they've got like 3.4 billion locked up, something like that. And by locked up, it means sitting there providing liquidity in the pairs. And actually, I hope that they're adding Uniswap V2 and V3 together. I think Uniswap V3 has a little bit more liquidity. Well, maybe 4x more liquidity than Uniswap V2 for, say, like the Ethereum USDC pair. I'm using a site that sucks to do these measurements, made by a founder that sucks. So I'm not going to name it, but you know, when people do their jobs poorly in one area, you find out often that they do their jobs poorly in a lot of other areas. So I'd have to manually verify these numbers, but let's just say that maybe the ratios hold. Maybe they, it's 3 times more in Uniswap. So, and then everything else is like way less liquidity, right? Like Bancor has way less, and on down the list. So what is Uniswap? Uniswap is a place. It's the most, probably one of the most popular apps, like number 1 or 2 on the Ethereum ecosystem. And I think it's very useful. Solving on-chain exchange, removing counterparty risk, being an oracle and not having to use some other oracle. It's awesome, right? It's all very, very good. And for a long time, they were totally open source. So Uniswap V1 had no admin keys, and it was totally open source. Then with V2, there was a light admin key, and that they could flip a switch that would take some of your a fee. And then they duct taped a token on, which was the Uni token, and everyone went wild. They loved it. Cool, great. And then I heard a rumor, by the way, that Hayden Adams cashed out a couple billion on Coinbase. Oh, okay, man. So, just a rumor. Now, Uniswap V3 isn't open source. So you have to wait 2 years. So after they released it, they put a 2-year timer that it would become open source after 2 years. I can't remember what that type of restrictive license is called. And it ain't been 2 years yet. So the best, most battle-hardened, most audited, reliable on-chain exchange automated market maker system is Uniswap V2. That's open source. And so it's really neat that Uniswap V2 put that platform fee into the code with a switch that one day they could turn it on if they wanted to. Well, that's really awesome, because we're forking that and we're turning on the switch. Thanks. Don't have to do any work, right? That part is easy. Now, there's a harder part. And so the hard part is, well, you could say there's 2 hard parts. So this is PulseX. So PulseX is a fork of Uniswap that activates the platform fee that's built into the Uniswap code. So it's secure as could be. But the issue is that it's only designed to send the platform fee to a single address. Then there's another feature where you can choose another address that's allowed to change the first address. I would say disable that. Why would you want admin keys? That's an admin key. You don't want admin keys, in my opinion. So you remove the ability, or just don't set the address So there's in the code, the V2 address is the one that gets the platform fee. And then the V2 setter is what its variable name is called, is the address that could change that first address. So you leave V2 setter blank or zeroed out. I think either one of them would work. But, you know, the devs will test it. And then I would prefer to see, and this is the design intention, is that instead of taking the platform fee and sending it to an address, this creates huge problems in my opinion. So like PancakeSwap does this. They point their platform fee to an address, and then that address is controlled by people, and then those people are responsible for doing what the business logic they advertise says. So they say they're going to do a buy and burn. Okay. And then, well, what if the guy that has the admin keys just stays asleep? Then you don't get your buy and burn. Or what if he just sends all the money to himself instead of buying and burning, right? I'm in cryptocurrency to reduce counterparty risk wherever possible and make things more secure and more decentralized and more reliable and more trustless. So, you know, relying on a human to wake up and do something that profits other people more than it profits himself, that's a big ask, you know. I don't like that. So I invented, and I think it's one of the first times it'll ever be seen, is that you harvest, or the platform fee gets sent to a contract address, and then that contract address has public functions that allow anyone that wants to run the public function, just like anyone can run good accounting in the hex system, or anyone can run the daily update in the hex system. Well, the same thing applies with this. Anyone will be able to run the buy and burn function, and they just choose which pairs they want to buy and burn for, and then pay the gas, and it runs. And then what it'll do is it'll take the platform fee that's in the V2 address, and it will perform a buy action or a swap action on itself, the PulseX platform, and it will turn all of those various coins that it received as fees. So when you swap, you pay a fee. What do you pay the fee in? The coin that you have, not the coin that you want. And so when you pay your fee, the people that are providing liquidity or the platform fee, they get a bunch of random coins for whatever pairs people are trading on and whatever side of the pair they entered in. So now people go, they run the public function, they choose what pairs they want, because maybe some illiquid pair you don't care, or maybe some, you know, pair doesn't exist anymore. Who knows, right? Like, there's a whole lot of variables. So the people choose the pairs they want, they pay their gas, and then the contract will execute the swap on the PulseX system, which is funny because it actually is self-amplifying. So when people trade, it generates fees, and only the PulseX holders will benefit from that because it's going to buy PulseX and then burn it, and with no admin keys. Awesome.